time as well. Hey, I think I'm dealing with some depression, and he wanted me to see the brighter side of things. No, y'all are about to go on tour. Y'all got Barbie dolls. What are you talking about? Y'all just signed a crazy big deal with Columbia. I could see myself in a pit trying to get out, just feeling so heavy that when I would make one step, the weight would just...
For Michelle Williams, being part of Destiny's Child was both a dream come true and a painful struggle. On the surface, she was living the dream, part of a massively successful girl group with chart-topping hits. But behind the scenes, things weren't so glamorous. Michelle was never seen as the favorite. Fans often viewed her as the least talented member, and even the group's management reminded her how lucky she was to be there, constantly pointing out that thousands of others would kill for her spot. While Beyoncé and Kelly enjoyed the spotlight, Michelle was expected to stay in the background, quietly enduring the constant criticism that followed her every move.
About your insecurities, about your singing voice, you even stated that you knew you weren't the vocal favorite of Destiny's Child. Is that something that, what made you second guess?
You know what, it's not that I was second guessing, I'm just aware. You know, some people are like, oh my gosh, it's stuck. They said it stuck with her. No, it didn't stick with me. You know, just sometimes you're aware that you're not everybody.
Even today, fans still won't let Michelle Williams catch a break. She's now speaking out, addressing how she was often pushed into the background so that Beyoncé and Kelly could shine. But let's rewind for a moment. Who is Michelle Williams, really? Most people only know her as the third and final member to join Destiny's Child. But Michelle had already built a strong foundation in music before that. She began singing in church at the age of 7, and over the years, she developed her vocal style, delivery, and technique through gospel music. That influence is still clear in her performances with Destiny's Child. Her soulful delivery is rooted deeply in that early training. Initially, Michelle didn't see music as a full-time career. She enrolled at Illinois State University, not Louisiana State to clarify, to study criminal justice. But after 2 years, she realized her true passion lay in music and decided to pursue it seriously. She began performing in clubs and eventually landed a gig singing background vocals for R&B singer Monica. It was during that time she had a chance encounter with members of Destiny's Child, an early sign of things to come. Back then, Destiny's Child was dealing with serious internal turmoil. The original lineup, Beyoncé Knowles, Kelly Rowland, LaToya Luckett, and Latavia Robertson, was experiencing creative and managerial disagreements. LaToya and Latavia were pushing to cut ties with manager Matthew Knowles, accusing him of unfairly favoring Beyoncé and Kelly, and of taking a large share of the group's profits. This conflict eventually led to their departure, leaving room for new members. In late 1999, Michelle crossed paths with Beyoncé and Kelly in the lobby of an Atlanta hotel. Nothing major came of it at the time, but the connection had been made. The following year, when Beyoncé was searching for a new singer, a mutual acquaintance recommended Michelle. Alongside Farrah Franklin, Michelle was brought in as a new member of Destiny's Child, officially replacing LaToya and Latavia. But the transition wasn't smooth. Farrah lasted only 5 months before quietly exiting the group, leaving Destiny's Child as a trio, Beyoncé, Kelly, and Michelle. As someone who joined during a time of public controversy and behind-the-scenes shakeups, Michelle was at a disadvantage. Fans didn't know who she was. She didn't come from the same pop performance background as Beyoncé and Kelly, and she was still finding her place in the industry. As a result, many fans overlooked her, failing to recognize the talent and depth she brought to the group.
Got into Destiny's Child. It was a moving train. So I was learning as I was going, right? I didn't have a lot of the media training and the development that Beyoncé and Kelly had. I came in that group a team player. I came in that group, what do y'all need me to do? Because I knew of these girls who had a dream and an aspect of that didn't work out. How can I come in and help us win? So I always feel like regardless, throughout the years, regardless of what has been written about me, whatever is said about me, I knew my mission.
When Michelle joined Destiny's Child, the group already had a strong, loyal fan base. Many fans were still upset about the lineup changes and were simply hoping the group would survive the shakeup and continue to thrive. But Michelle wasn't deterred. She was ready to keep her head down and put in the work. she quickly developed a strong working relationship with both Beyoncé and Kelly, which soon grew into a genuine sisterhood. Michelle embraced her role with grace, delivering her vocals as directed, showing up consistently, and always being willing to collaborate with both the group and management. She wasn't chasing the spotlight. She was focused on contributing to the group's success. The trio's first major release together was Independent Women Part 1, featured on the Charlie's Angels soundtrack. It debuted at number 29 on the Billboard 200, and her hit single, Say Yes, featuring Beyoncé and Kelly, remains one of her most celebrated songs. Yet even now, Michelle doesn't get the same recognition as her groupmates. She still faces ridicule, with entire pages dedicated to mocking her or highlighting how she hasn't reached the same level of fame. But the tide is starting to turn. More and more people are speaking out, defending her, and giving her the flowers she long deserved. Michelle Williams didn't get the grace she earned. Joining Destiny's Child after the group had already been trained and polished for years, she had to climb a steep learning curve, fast, and she did it. She learned 2 full albums worth of lyrics, harmonies, choreography, and chemistry in just months. That's no small feat. That's legendary. She may not have always been the one in the spotlight, but she carved out her own space with poise and power. The Bridge Queen deserves her roses. It was never fair how the public treated her. And now, it's time we set that right. But what do you think? Did Beyoncé and Kelly truly outshine Michelle? Or was she just underestimated from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe, because there's so much more coming your way. Until next time, this is Betty's signing off. The song was a smash hit, topping the charts and proving that Destiny's Child was still a force to be reckoned with, even with a new lineup. That momentum carried them into their next major project, the album Survivor. If Destiny's Child had tasted success before, Survivor took them to unprecedented heights. The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, sold an estimated 10 million copies worldwide, and launched them into global stardom. They were everywhere: TV appearances, award shows, world tours, and in the midst of this massive wave of success, Michelle began to shine in her own right. With her gospel roots and rich vocal tone, Michelle earned recognition as the Queen of Soul and Bridges within the group. For the first time, the public really began to notice her, not just as the third member, but as a vital part of Destiny's Child's sound and identity.
But you will not talk bad about Michelle and say that they can have a tour without her. You cannot have a Destiny's Child tour without Michelle. Can you do it without LaToya or Latavia? Yeah, like absolutely. But Michelle, there's absolutely no way that can happen. And Michelle Williams has never met a bridge that she can't cross. Okay, that girl was the bridge maker and creator for that. Like there are so many songs that she's on the bridge on that brought it.
But not all the attention Michelle received was positive. Standing beside Beyoncé and Kelly, she was often treated like an afterthought. Beyoncé was clearly the full package entertainer, the voice, the presence, the face of the group. Kelly, with her striking looks and powerful vocals, was both admired and desired. Girls wanted to be her, and guys wanted to be with her. In comparison, the public perception of Michelle was far less kind. To many, she simply didn't measure up. Critics and fans alike questioned her fit in the group, not just in terms of image, but also in vocal strength and dance ability. Despite her undeniable talent and work ethic, Michelle was often seen as the weakest link, someone who didn't quite match the group's aesthetic or polish. It was an unfair and painful comparison she had to endure constantly.
Where you at, 106?
Like when I fell on live TV, it took me years to be able to watch that because everybody makes such a big deal about it. And I was like, let me rest when I'm over it.
Yeah.
Okay, it took me a while to get over it.
Why do you think it took you a while?
Because people acted like I was the only human on the planet
To fall. Yeah.
to fall.
Also, when Jennifer Lawrence falls on the red carpet, she's more relatable now.
Again, I can laugh at it now. You know, I'm reminded of it probably. It used to be every week that somebody would like do a meme or something.
Oh, come on.
Beyoncé and Kelly had been groomed for stardom since childhood, trained in singing, dancing, and performing with laser focus. Michelle, on the other hand, stepped into the group at the height of its success, landing in the middle of a whirlwind with a #1 hit already underway. Unlike the others, she didn't have years of choreography and stage polish behind her. Her dancing was sometimes a bit stiff, and even though she worked hard to keep up, fans were quick to spot and criticize her every misstep. Meanwhile, Beyoncé and Kelly were constantly praised and elevated, which only magnified Michelle's struggles. She sometimes appeared awkward or out of place, not because she lacked talent, but because she wasn't used to the intense spotlight or the relentless public scrutiny that came with it. Still, she gave her all, even when it felt like the world was waiting for her to fail.
For myself, it was hard wearing the different types of clothes, and I showed a little bit of cleavage.
She was fine. It took her a while, but she was...
Being part of Destiny's Child was both a blessing and a box for Michelle Williams. Yes, it gave her a global platform to showcase her talent, but she was often confined to bridges, ad-libs, or background vocals. That led to the assumption that she only got those lines because she wasn't on the same level as Beyoncé and Kelly. To make matters worse, fans still hadn't gotten over the departure of LaToya and Latavia, and they projected their disappointment onto Michelle, despite her having no part in that decision. As the group continued to rise, Michelle started to feel the weight of the criticism. It hit her hard. She even confided in Matthew Knowles that she was struggling emotionally and possibly dealing with depression. But he dismissed her concerns, saying she had nothing to be sad about. After all, the group was successful, brands were eager to partner, and the money was flowing in. But what he didn't understand was that success doesn't always silence the pain. Despite being the first in the group to go solo, most people forget Michelle paved her own lane in gospel music, a genre she stayed true to. Her 4th studio album, Journey to Freedom, brought her back into the spotlight.